Solomon, son of David, builder of the temple, wisest of kings, and the man whose divided heart foreshadowed a divided Israel. Solomon was the wisest man of his era, a man to whom God spoke directly, offering him anything his heart desired. He sought neither riches nor power. Instead, he asked for wisdom. Yet, who could have imagined that this same man would eventually welcome idols into his own home? He embraced the very sin that had led to the destruction of thousands in the wilderness generations before. This is the story of Solomon, a king of unparalleled insight who married 700 wives and kept 300 concubines. These women brought their foreign gods into the palace, and in doing so, they turned the heart of the world's wisest king away from God. There are kingdoms destroyed by invading armies, and kingdoms destroyed from within. In the days when Israel reached its greatest glory, when silver was said to be as common as stones in Jerusalem, when kings crossed deserts just to hear the wisdom of Solomon, few could imagine that the seeds of national ruin were already being planted in the palace itself. Not with swords, not with rebellion, but with love, compromise, and altars. Solomon, son of David, began as few kings ever have. He asked not for riches, not for long life, not for vengeance over enemies, but for wisdom. And God gave him wisdom beyond measure. Under Solomon, the temple rose in splendor. Trade flourished. Peace surrounded Israel. Nations brought tribute. This was the golden age. But even in gold, cracks can form. For the law had warned generations before. A king must not multiply wives for himself, lest his heart turn away. Yet Solomon did exactly that. 700 wives, 300 concubines, princesses from Egypt, Moab, Ammon, Sidon, and among the Hittites. These were not merely romances. They were treaties, alliances, political peace sealed by marriage. And every alliance carried a god. At first, the compromise looked harmless. A shrine here, an altar there, a tolerated custom for a foreign bride. But idols do not remain guests. They demand thrones. And slowly, the king who built the house of God began building high places for false gods. For Chemosh, for Molech, for Ashtoreth. The wise king had become divided in heart, and a divided heart would one day produce a divided kingdom. For the Lord spoke judgment. Because you have done this, I will tear the kingdom from your son, not in your days, for David your father's sake, but after you. And God raised adversaries against Solomon, Hadad of Edom, Rezon of Damascus, and then Jeroboam, a capable servant, an ambitious man. One day the prophet Ahijah met him on the road. He took a new cloak and tore it into 12 pieces. Take 10 pieces for yourself, for thus says the Lord, I will tear 10 tribes from Solomon's house. The fracture had been spoken, but Solomon would not live to see it break. He died with the kingdom outwardly whole, while division slept beneath the surface. Then came his son, Rehoboam, and what compromise had weakened? Pride would shatter. When the tribes pleaded for lighter burdens, Rehoboam answered with arrogance. He said to them, My father chastised you with whips, I will chastise you with scorpions. And the kingdom split. 10 tribes followed Jeroboam in the north. Judah remained with David's house in the south. Israel was divided, just as judgment had declared. And where did the crack begin? Not with Rehoboam's harsh words, not even with Jeroboam's rebellion. It began years earlier, when Solomon loved what God had warned against. When political wisdom became spiritual compromise. When marriages became altars, and altars became judgment. This is the tragedy of Solomon. Not that he lacked wisdom, but that he failed to obey it. The king who built the temple opened doors to idols. The man whose wisdom drew nations left a kingdom divided for generations. And so the lesson endures. Not every fall begins in battle. Some begin in small compromises no one fears, until a kingdom breaks.